So, what if you could build an organization that doesn't just get knocked down by storms, but actually learns how to ride the waves? That's exactly what we're diving into today. How to architect real resilience. Building a blueprint so you're not just surviving, but actually thriving, no matter what the world throws at you.
You know, Warren Buffett really hits the nail on the head with this one. Risk isn't always about the big, scary things you can see coming. Nope, it's about the blind spots. And in a world that changes this fast, not knowing isn't just a gap in your knowledge, it's a massive liability, just waiting for a chance to bite you.
So this is the million-dollar question for every single leader out there, right? How in the world do you prepare for what you can't predict? How do you defend against threats you don't even see yet? Well, it turns out the answer is in this really powerful two-part strategy that we're about to unpack.
Okay, let's jump right into our first strategy, planning for the unexpected. I want you to think of this as your external shield. It's all about building a proactive defense against all those sudden shocks that can come completely out of left field. You know, everything from supply chain chaos to natural disasters. So why is having a plan so incredibly important? Well, for starters, this is not about a dusty binder sitting on a shelf. It's a direct investment in your resilience, which means less downtime and fewer financial losses. It's also a huge signal about your reputation, showing everyone that you're a proactive leader while others might be panicking. And, of course, a lot of the time, it's simply a matter of compliance, making sure you're meeting those critical legal and regulatory duties.
I mean, this slide really says it all, doesn't it? The contrast is just night and day. On one side, you've got total chaos and confusion, which leads to financial losses and some serious reputation damage. But on the other side, you have swift, coordinated action that minimizes downtime and actually builds stakeholder trust. It's the difference between being a victim of your circumstances and being the master of your response.
A really solid, effective plan, it's always built on these 4 pillars. You've got to start with a risk assessment, just knowing what could realistically hit you and how bad it could be. From there, you build out specific response protocols, basically a playbook so everyone knows exactly what to do. Then, and this is so crucial, you need a communication strategy to control the narrative. And finally, resource allocation, making it crystal clear who's in charge of what, so there's absolutely zero confusion when things get intense.
And here's the thing, bringing a plan to life isn't a one-and-done deal. It's a cycle. You identify your most critical functions, and then you have to test the plan with real-world simulations. Just look at Toyota. They run earthquake drills all the time. So when that massive 2011 earthquake hit, their response was pure muscle memory, not panic. After testing, you train your people, and maybe most importantly, you monitor and update it all the time, because the risks you face tomorrow are not the same ones you're facing today. All right, on to our second strategy, strengthening from within. Now, if contingency planning is your external shield, I want you to think of this as your internal tune-up. This is all about making sure your own house is in order. So you're not just protected from the outside, you're fundamentally strong from the inside out.
Let's be real for a second. The word audit usually makes people pretty nervous, right? But we've got to reframe that. A proactive audit isn't about pointing fingers, it's about finding opportunities. It creates transparency, which builds incredible trust with everyone involved. It drives efficiency by sniffing out those hidden bottlenecks, and it actually sparks innovation by creating a culture where you're always trying to get better.
And you can audit pretty much anything. An operational audit could help a logistics company totally optimize its delivery routes. A financial one helps a nonprofit keep its donors' trust. A compliance audit keeps a pharma company on the right side of the FDA. And a cybersecurity audit? Well, that helps a bank protect all of our data. Each one is just a different lens you can use to make your organization that much stronger.
The process here is pretty straightforward, but the commitment, that's what's key. You define what you're looking at, you engage everybody who needs to be involved, and then comes the most critical step of all. You have to act on what you find. Remember when Target had that massive data breach? The audit after wasn't just some report that sat on a desk. No way. It led to a complete overhaul of their IT. That right there is the difference between a checkbox exercise and a real culture of accountability.
Okay, so let's bring it all home now in Section 3, Building Total Resilience. Because the real magic here isn't about picking one strategy over the other. It's about understanding how they work together. The external shield and the internal tune-up. They're really just 2 halves of the same whole.
So, on one hand, you have your contingency plan. That's your shield, right? It's protecting you from those big external shocks, like a supply chain collapse. And then, on the other hand, you've got your regular audits. That's your internal health check, making sure your own systems are strong and aren't a source of risk themselves. It's only when you combine them that you get a truly robust risk management framework. Think about it. An external shield is pretty useless if the structure behind it is about to crumble, and a super strong internal structure is still vulnerable if it has no shield. That synergy, that is the core of total resilience.
Now, of course, doing all this isn't always easy. In the real world, you're going to run into challenges. You'll face resource constraints, you'll deal with resistance to change, and things can get complex. The key is just to be smart about it. Prioritize your biggest risks first. Get the most bang for your buck. Communicate the benefits over and over to get people on board. And please, don't try to boil the ocean. Start with solutions that can grow with you.
Phew! Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's wrap this all up into a simple, clear, and totally actionable plan that you can literally start thinking about today.
So, what are your next steps? Here's a super simple launch pad. Step 1, do a risk assessment. You have to know where your biggest vulnerabilities are. Step 2, build a contingency plan just for those most critical risks. And Step 3, schedule regular audits, maybe quarterly, to make this whole continuous improvement thing a core part of your culture. It's a simple but incredibly powerful cycle.
We'll leave you with this really powerful idea from Peter Drucker. At the end of the day, resilience isn't passive. It's not about building a bunker and hoping for the best. It's an active creation. It's about shifting your mindset from just reacting to the future to intentionally building an organization that can actually shape it. It's about taking control and creating your own success no matter what comes your way.